Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we are going to dive into a tragedy wrapped in a comedy wrapped in a giant broken spreadsheet. We are talking about public pensions and specifically the theatrical corruption of places like Chicago. Charlie Munger always said that an empty bag cannot stand upright, and right now many states in America are trying to stand up with bags that are completely. Let us start with the math, because numbers do not have a political party and they do not care about your feelings across America. There are 50 states and each one has a pension system for public employees. We have 13,600,000 active workers trying to support 11,100,000 retirees. That ratio is almost 1-to-1, which is a mathematical nightmare for anyone who understands basic addition. Imagine running a business where every single worker has to earn enough to pay their own salary plus the full pension of one retiree. It is why your state taxes are climbing every single year just to keep the lights on in the pension office. This system is the second biggest pension engine in the world, only trailing federal Social Security. We are talking about $6,700,000,000,000 in total assets. But here's the kicker. There is an additional $1,500 billion in promised payments that simply do not exist. That is what we call an unfunded liability, which is just a fancy way of saying a bounced check waiting to happen. The median state in America is about 80% funded. That sounds okay until you realize that 1 out of every $5 promised to teachers and police officers is missing from the vault. Now, I will give credit where it is due, because this is actually an improvement from 10 years ago. In 2015, the median state was closer to 72% funded, but do not get excited and start popping champagne just yet. This improvement was not because politicians suddenly found a spine and practiced fiscal responsibility. It happened because the S&P 500 tripled in value since 2015. The bull market saved their skin, but hope is not a strategy. Even with record-breaking market performance, most pension funds still underperformed a simple 60-40 index. Why? Because they were too busy chasing politically driven investments and ESG mandates instead of maximizing returns. If you are a genius at managing money, you go to a hedge fund. You do not go to a state pension office for a government salary. The result is that the taxpayers are paying for mediocrity while the liabilities keep compounding like a virus. Let us look at the winners and the losers, because the gap is massive and it tells a story of competence versus graft. Tennessee, South Dakota, and Washington State are fully solvent with over 100% funding. They have more than enough to cover every promise they ever made to their workers. Then you have the basement dwellers like Illinois, which is sitting at a path. 52% funded. Kentucky and New Jersey are not much better, hovering around 54 and 55%. There is a direct correlation between perceived corruption and pension failure. It is a simple psychological fact that when people do not respect the rules, they treat the pension fund like a personal piggy bank. In Illinois, the average CFT owes almost $16,000 in pension debt just by living there. Compare that to Connecticut or Alaska, where the debt is also approaching $10,000 per person. These states are in a doom loop where they raise taxes to cover the debt, which causes productive people to leave. When the tax base shrinks, the remaining people have to pay even more, which causes more people to leave. Illinois is stuck because their state constitution literally makes it illegal to cut pensions even if the ship is sinking. They are legally required to keep playing the violin for the retirees. When a business cannot pay its debts and cannot cut costs, it goes bankrupt. But states do not go bankrupt. They just nickel and dime you until you move to Indiana or Florida. Illinois has some of the highest sales taxes and property taxes in the country because they are desperate for cash, and unlike California, Illinois does not have a Mediterranean climate or a Silicon Valley to keep people from leaving. You can move 90 miles north to Wisconsin and get the same weather for a much lower tax bill. This is a massive sequence of returns risk for the entire country. If we hit a major bear market while the boomers are retiring, the pension crisis will be the only thing on the news. Politicians are currently praying that boomer retirees do not live as long, as the actuarial tables suggest. That is a morbid and disgusting stat rate, but it is the one they have chosen by default. They are also using fake math by assuming an 8% return on investment forever if they used a realistic return of 5%. The entire system would look like a giant smoking crater. You need to look at your state the same way you look at a company you invest in. Is the management corrupt? Is the debt sustainable? Is the cost too? Murbase leaving the building. If you live in a state like Illinois, you are essentially a minority shareholder in a failing business with no exit strategy. Unless you move, you are on the hook for those $16,000. And that number is only going up. The moral of the story is that math always wins in the end, and it does not take prisoners. You can ignore the numbers for a decade or two, but you cannot ignore the consequences of ignoring the numbers. Be careful where you plant your roots, because some soil is more expensive than others. Let us dive deeper into why this matters to you. Even if you are not a government worker, every dollar that goes into a black hole of pension debt is a dollar that does not go into your local road, schools, or parks. You are paying premium prices for a third-rate experience. I want you to think about your life as a capital allocation problem. If you are living in a high tax state with a failing pension system, you are effectively paying a massive management fee for a fund that is losing money. In the world of investing, we would fire that manager in a heartbeat, but in the world of politics, we just keep re-electing them and hoping for a miracle. Charlie Munger always said that the first rule of compounding is to never interrupt it unnecessarily, but high taxes and state mismanagement are the ultimate interruptions to your personal compounding. If 10% of your income is going toward a debt you did not create, that is 10% of your freedom being stolen every single year over a 30-year career that adds up to millions of dollars in lost potential wealth. It is the difference between retiring at 50 or working until you are 75. Most people are so busy arguing about red versus blue that they forget to check the balance sheet. The balance sheet does not care about your ideology. It only cares about solvency. If a state is insolvent, it will eventually come for your wallet with a vengeance. They will tax your income, they will tax your house, they will tax your car, and they will tax your breath if they could. And the worst part is that the money is not even going toward making the state better. It is going toward paying for services that were rendered 30 years ago. It is like paying for a dinner you ate in 1995 every single day for the rest of your life. This is why we see the Great Migration happening. Across America right now, people are voting with their feet and they are moving toward states that respect. The math states like feck, the math states like low. Rita and Texas are winning not just because of the sun, but because they have a cleaner balance sheet. They are not carrying the same weight of historical corruption and broken promises. I am 25 years old, and I look at these numbers and I see a warning sign. I want you to be the person who looks at the math before you sign a 30-year mortgage. In a dying city, do not be the one left holding the bag. The music finally stops, because when the music stops, the politicians will be long gone and the taxpayers will be the only ones left in the room. We have to be smarter than the system that tries to trap us. We have to understand the incentives and the games being played behind the scenes. The theatrical corruption of Chicago is just a symptom of a much larger disease. It is a disease of short-term thinking and deferred responsibility. Politicians love to make promises today that someone else has to pay for tomorrow, but tomorrow is finally here and the bill is coming due. I want you to take control of your own destiny, so you are not dependent on a state that cannot even manage its own checkbook. Build your own pension, build your own wealth, and build your own safety net. Because at the end of the only person who truly cares about your retirement is you. The state sees you as a revenue source, nothing more and nothing less. Do not give them more than they deserve. And do not stay in a burning building just because you like the wallpaper. It is time to be honest about the reality of public finance in America. It is a mess, and it is a dangerous one for the unprepared. But if you are watching this, you are already ahead of the game. You are looking at the math and you are asking the right questions. And that is the first step toward true financial independence. Do not let the complexity of the system intimidate you at its core. It is just simple arithmetic. If you spend more than you make for 50 years, you are going to have a problem. And that is exactly what these states have done. They have spent the future to pay for the present, and now the future has arrived. I am going to keep screaming this from the rooftops until everyone understands your wealth is your responsibility and your location is a strategic choice. Choose wisely and do not let the ghost of corruption haunt your bank account. I see so many people working 60 hours a week just to give half of it away to a mismanaged government. It breaks my heart, because that is time you will never get back. Your time is your most precious asset, and you are trading it for currency that is being debased by incompetence. If you can move to a state that treats you like a partner instead of a victim, you should do it. If you can invest in assets that the government cannot easily grab, you should do it. Diversify your life and diversify your geography. Do not put all your eggs in one basket, especially if that basket has a giant hole in the bottom called a pension deficit. The world is changing and the old safety nets are fraying at the edges. We have to be the generation that builds something better and more sustainable. It starts with education and it ends with action. I want you to go look at your own state funding levels tonight, see where you stand on the list, and ask yourself if you are okay with those numbers. If you are not, then it is time to start making a plan. Maybe that plan involves moving, or maybe it involves changing your investment strategy. Whatever it is, just do not sit there and do nothing. Silence is consent when it comes to government mismanagement, and I, for one, do not consent to being the piggy bank. For a corrupt system, we are going to win this game because we are playing the long game. We are playing the game of logic, compounding, and common sense. The politicians are playing the game of the next election cycle, and as Charlie Munger taught us, the long game always wins. If you have the patience to stay the course, let us build our own empires and leave the ruins of the old ones behind. We have the tools and we have the knowledge to be free. It is just a matter of having the courage to act on what we know. I am not here to scare you. I am here to wake you up. The truth is often uncomfortable, but it is the only thing that can set you free. So take this information and use it as a shield for your future. Protect your wealth and protect your time and protect your family. The storm is coming, but you do not have to be caught in the rain. You can build an ark out of solid assets and smart choices. And I will be right here with you. Every step of the way, keep your head up and your eyes on the data. The world is full of noise, but the math is quiet and steady. Listen to the math and ignore the theater. That is how you get rich, and that is how you stay rich. Chicago might be theatrically corrupt, but you do not have to be an audience member. In their play, you can write your own script and you can be the hero of your own story. It all starts with that first dollar you save and that first smart decision you make, so let us get to work and make it happen. I want to see every single one of you reach that point where you do not have to worry about what a politician says, because your wealth is independent of their incompetence. That is the ultimate goal, and we are going to get there together. Thanks for hanging out with me today in the virtual Shenya Shaitan. I appreciate your time. And I appreciate your energy. Let us keep pushing and keep growing and keep winning. There is a lot of work to do, but we are the ones to do it. No one else is coming to save us. So we have to save ourselves, and honestly, I prefer it that way. It makes the victory that much sweeter when you know you earned it. Stay sharp and stay hungry for the truth. The world needs more people like you who are willing to look at the reality of the situation. Do not let the gas lighting of the media or the government confuse you. Trust your own eyes and trust the balance sheet. If the numbers do not add up, they do not add up, period, and no amount of political spin can change that fact. So stay grounded in the truth and stay focused on your goals. We are going to look back on this time and be so glad we made the hard choices. The easy choices lead to a hard life, but the hard choices lead to an easy life. Choose the hard path now so you can enjoy the easy path later. That is the secret of the masters, and it is the secret of the 25-year-old genius. Actually, I am not a genius. I just know how to use a calculator, and I want you to use yours too. It is the most powerful weapon you have in the fight for financial freedom. So go use it and see what it tells you. I bet it tells you that it is time to make some changes, and I am here to support you in every single one of them. Let us make it happen, and let's make it big. Every single paycheck you get is a chance to buy another piece of your freedom. Do not waste it on junk and do not waste it on taxes. You do not have to pay. Optimize your life and optimize your future. You are the CEO of your own life, and it is time to start acting like it. Stop waiting for permission to be wealthy and just start building it. The path is clear and the math is solid. Now, it is just a matter of execution. Stay boring, stay patient, peace.